What are the awkward parts of sex that no one really talks about? The bed noises travel further than expected. If you do it on a waterbed, Newton has a message for you. The whole first time. I hope to never see that girl again. I'm still embarrassed 10 years later. When you pull a hamstring mid-stroke. As if a stroke wasn't bad enough. Trying to find your underwear in the sheets. That moment when you have to put a condom on and either go look for it when other person is waiting or he just put it and you stare. If your partner ejaculates in you, it's got to go somewhere. Often where gravity takes it. Frequently this happens immediately after sex. Often it happens the next day while you're at work speaking to Jackie from procurement about cost savings measures and quote comparisons. When you think your period ended 2 days ago but when the lights come on the bed looks like it's straight out of a slasher film. The general rule is Dick will start your period up to 2 days early and clean out the leftovers up to 2 days after. 10 minutes standing over a toilet trying to pee. Same for girls. Praying to pee otherwise for the next whole week you'll pay. I love the string of inevitable queefs you get after doggy style. Yup. My husband always pulls out way too fast to change positions so naturally everything fills up with air. Now when we are going to change positions I say remember the correct dismount procedure. So he doesn't make me queef. People knock marriage sex but honestly we love each other and have seen pretty much everything that like met. There's not embarrassment or awkwardness anymore. It's just fun and we can laugh and enjoy ourselves. Edit. Dismount procedure is slowly pulling out to give the vagina, which is very elastic, a chance to go back to its normal shape. Not like super slow, but also not just yanking it out in a split second. If you go too fast you're basically creating a huge vacuum that will of course fill up with air. This is what works for me but all bodies are different. Also, yes queefs are funny but also being full of air can be super uncomfortable especially if you keep going with sex after. So I try to avoid it. When giving head your jaws starts to cramp but you don't want to interrupt his flow. This would be a lot easier if I could deal with the fact that I sort of have to pee. Except I'm so comfortable. I don't want to get up. This is the weekend FFS. Why is it so early? I could handle fooling around at this hour. But not getting out of bed. Ideally we'd just go back to sleep for like even just half an hour. Then I'd get up to use the washroom. Then I'd come back and we'd nap for 10 more minutes of glorious weekend sleepy kinda horny relaxer so. We're doing this now apparently. Awkwardly shuffling over to the tissues at the side of the bed when you're done. Trying to take pants off while wearing skinny jeans. When you are sweating profusely over your partner. Back in my hookup days I was never really sure how to ask if she was planning to spend the night, if we hooked up at my place, or if she expected me to stay the night, if at her place. It was especially awkward on a weeknight when I had to be at work in the morning. Trying to reposition while not catching her hair you dare my load-bearing hands. When a funny sound happens as a consequence of physical contact. Like if I'm sucking her titties and the suction accidentally makes a fart sound. Or the thrusting of my dick makes a fart sound. We both heard it. But we're both trying not to laugh because we don't want to kill the mood. Speaking of laughing. When a woman laughs while I'm still inside her. My dick feels like it's gonna retract into my stomach. When you come first and have to make small talk while the rest of the orgy finishes up. You just cheer on and offer advice to the other participants. Great rhythm. Greg. Samantha. He likes it when you tickle his asshole. Or actually finger it. Can we get a spotter for Luke and Jessica? Banging on an empty stomach. After a few beers. And hearing the slosh 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 of the liquid in your stomachs bouncing around. The awkward stuff is the best. I have 2 single beds next to each other to make a king or queen size, not sure which one it is, and while we were busy, the beds started to separate and we fell in between getting stuck. I tried squirming back up while we were both laughing, which made getting back up even harder. Man, the awkwardness is great. When he's the only one to finish and you feel awkward asking him to do more for you to finish too. I also feel awkward asking my so to stop. I don't think they fully grasp it isn't always going to happen and it usually has nothing to do with them. Nose whistling. When the dog jumps up on the bed without you noticing until his cold wet nose is sniffing your asshole. When you start having sex in the middle of a movie. And you have to get up mid-sex to turn off the TV lol. Oddly specific, I know. But this is something that has happened multiple times. Especially when it's a horror movie. Shit is distracting. The cuddling afterwards being interrupted by the crap I have to go pee now thought. My boyfriend was kneeled over me while I laid on the bed and he throat F-ked me. He didn't wipe well enough the last time he used a restroom. It was a shitty experience. Queefs. Farts. Strange noises. Banging your head into things. Getting the wrong hole. Missing the hole entirely. How wet everything gets. And that odd time when you or your partner find something funny and have to laugh. Chest farts. They always cause some laughing. Which is nice because it makes it tighter until you resume. Edit. One of my highest voted comments is about sex noises. The dehydration. The come walk over to the toilet. The dog that tries to get in on the action. My husband has recently been farting every time he has an orgasm. So that's something. Edit. Whoa. 14,000 upvotes and 4 awards. For this. Reddit. You rock. Don't ever change. The smell. Not sex smell but sweat and cramped moisture smell. The awkward waddling to go wash up after. Needing to go wash when your body is literally too crashed to ever wanna move so you contemplate the concepts of life and death. Quantum entanglement and history of geopolitics before finally getting up. Wanting to shift positions but your partner is still very much enjoying this one. You don't wanna be an asshole and cut her fun but you can't keep this up much longer. Clean up after. Hand me something. Toss his shirt. Edit. My first awards and it's all thanks to sex. Dating a squirter is great fun except for the mattress stains. Get a mattress pad or put out some towels. In this thread. Literally every minor detail of sex. Apparently all of sex is awkward. When she goes down to unbutton your pants but she has to figure out how to get the fanny pack off first. When he's cleaning his spunk off your back tummy. And doesn't realize how far it traveled so you have to tell him he's missed a spot. What do you mean it hit the TV? I have. What might be a unique one? I have a cochlear implant and the awkward part is me trying to be in the moment and give him a blowjob and he keeps knocking my cochlear implant off holding onto my hair. Really pushes my multitasking abilities trying to keep my implant on while having his dick in my mouth. I never know when to pay. I'm a 25-year-old virgin. This thread is great to read. Thanks. When you first start dirty talking. Edit to say. Whoa. Thank you internet strangers for all of the upvotes. Second edits to say. Thank you all for the hilarious dirty talk responses. Made my day. You mean the panties your mom laid out for you? Asterisk. Edit. Of course a Seinfeld reference would be my first goal lol. Thanks. You like that? You f-king retardy? The amount of cleanup that is necessary. My BF comes a lot. After the first time we had sex. I was walking down his stairs and a flood was unleashed down my legs. I had to awkwardly tell him that I needed to go back upstairs to clean up again before I could go home. Last night. After cleanup. I came back to bed and cuddled up. A few minutes later I sneezed and squirted out a little more on the sheets. I was back up and in the bathroom in seconds. So much cleanup. This will probably get buried but I wanted to share the tale. My boyfriend and I both cook for a living. This happened a few years ago at the beginning of our relationship. He had been working and came over to my house after his shift. We were doing our thing and his hands were in my pants. When things started to heat up, I started feeling a weird tingling down there that I've never experienced before. At first I thought it was my head playing tricks on me. Then before I could piece together what was actually happening, I threw him off of me. My hoo-ha was burning. As I was sprinting to the bathroom I thought, wait, I know this feeling as I'm straddling the faucet the best way I can. He comes in to check on me. I ask him what kind of peppers he was prepping today. Oh shit. I cut and pickled like 3 quarts of jalapenos today. My friends called me Pepper PSSY for the rest of that summer. Please make sure the capsaicin is off of your hands before you fondle any bits. People. When he's trying to put it in you in the dark and hits your asshole instead of your PSSY. Hey. Any virgins reading this looking for advice? Let her guide the guy's junk in. Trust me, she knows better than you do where to go. And you'll spend less awkward or even painful time getting on target. F-king over a towel. And readjusting it occasionally to make sure that the bed doesn't get too soaked. Mattress. Protector. Everyone should have one anyway. When they whisper something dirty but you don't quite catch it and have to go hard. Sucking a nipple and getting a hair in your mouth. Fumbling around trying to find a condom. The weird smells. Not bad sometimes, just weird. The funny noises what can causing both of you to laugh to the point you can't finish or kills the mood. Sometimes you just can't hard, you can't get wet. Getting cramp in my thigh during the thrusting. Making my leg shoot out to one side. Stiff. Gets tangled in the sheets. With Whiffy thinking this is a new ride, going nuts for more under me. Still connected. Screaming in agony trying to get the sheets off my foot. More tangled. Try to roll off. Wife sticking with it yelling for more. Leg now got a life of its own, finds a foothold on the floor and stands me up out of the bed. Sheets still entangled. Agony. Wife dragging me back. Bedding wraps around both of us and we both end up on the floor screaming. Her cuz it's unfinished business. Me cuz my still straight leg is now wrapped inextricably around the lampstand which has fallen over onto me and the light bulb is singing my chest hair. When you go down on someone and they didn't wipe very good. I've had toilet paper pieces in my teeth. After reading all of these stories, do any of y'all actually use condoms? Edit. Thanks for my first ever gold. Holy cow, I do not deserve it. Most people on Reddit having sex are probably doing it in long-term relationships or marriages, so there's probably a good amount of people either on other birth control or having kids or with vasectomies or something. Also a ton of these posts are about pulling out. Changing positions or like the 30 seconds before when you're putting on lube and it's just silent. All the farting and crying. But mostly the farting. I know it's phrased as a joke. But for the longest time, I had never had a partner that would cry after until my most recent ex. Nothing I did had caused it. Specifically, it's just a thing that happens for whatever reason with them. I was so concerned the first time it happened. Also had a lady that would giggle uncontrollably after climax. That was much less concerning. Belly flapping sounds. Like a majestic eagle taking flight. When your nose starts running or you feel a booger shake loose and you have to stop and get a tissue or try to clean your nose while going to Pound Town. Being afraid you're gonna bounce on a dick wrong and break it in half. I had my nose ring get caught with the girls yesterday. That some days as a guy, you simply cannot get hard to save your life. Doesn't matter how SI you find your partner or if you were good to go the day before. Some days your dick just refuses to go up and you can't explain why. The crinkle of the condom wrapper. IDKY, but it makes me want to burst into laughter every freaking time. It is so hard not to. But I don't wanna kill the mood. When they're mouth breathers and have to take a gasp after every few minutes of kissing. Cannot unnotice. I move away from the mouth to breathe in. When you're getting into it and realize Trailer Park Boys is still on the TV. And all of a sudden you hear Ricky say something stupid. We both died laughing, then continued. When the cat sits on the nightstand and just stares. Sucking dick. After a while your jaw gets sore from being cranked open so wide for so long. Your neck muscles ache from holding up and moving your head back and forth. And your hand starts cramping. Still love it though. Lesbian version. 1. Queefing. Always awkward. Always funny too. Sleeping with a pillow queen. Hello, I'd like a little return on this investment, K thanks. 3. Putting on a strap-on. Like it's a whole whispering discussion, do you want to? Okay, will I wear it or you wear it? Cool. I'll just grab it naked in the dark, stumble to the drawer. Stands in bedroom trying to put on strap-on. Probably stumbled again. You okay? Yeah, you sure, eh? Could you help adjust it? It's not sitting right. Okay. 5 minutes passes. Okay, I think that's it. Back into bed under sheets. And a further few minutes of discussion if it's comfortable for both people. That some of us may never get it. Your username tells us enough. Taking your socks off. Wrong hole, fool. What about when you are getting FKed missionary and you are just looking at each other while he bangs you? It's like wanna have a staring contest. The moment directly afterwards when you suddenly realize you have no interest in hanging out with this person and have to make up an excuse to get the hell out of there. Also, the cleanup can be pretty awkward. Even though I'm moaning and will absolutely let you finger blast me on your bed, it's still very incredibly awkward that we're at your parents' house. Even if they're not home. Sometimes when I come, the spasms force out a fart. Usually only when I'm super gassy. But it happens. I thought that was just me. When a guy busts and shts at the same time. Okay, I'm going to need the full story. Please and thank you. WTF. Picking the pubic hair out of your vag. Shts nasty. Worse. Out of your teeth. Fanny farts. Lol. Women always get so self-conscious over everything. But don't realize that we stare at their buttholes during sex. OHGODNO. IUHH do not like how my butthole looks. And I'm not bleaching it. When your dog gets into the room and decides to jump on the bed and lick your faces right in the middle of effing. Having a funny thought pop into your head in the middle of sex. You say it. And your partner laughs hard. Then you both start laughing hard, lol. Holding in a fart while your partner goes down on you. I don't know. The smell of the cleanup after. Also, foreplay is way more crucial than you think. Deciding who gets to sleep in the wet patch. Cleanup. Worst is realizing you have no towels or tissues or anything to clean up with. So you lay there naked while he runs bare ass to the hall closets to find a towel that you don't mind getting baby juice on. Then he comes back and you're both passing the towel to each other to clean up in silence. Maybe putting in a "that was really good, I enjoyed that." Then back to awkward silence as you put clothes back on. Should I leave a tip? If so, how much? Is it based off their performance? My performance? Sticky sweaty as Naru problem while in the throes of passion. But 2-3 minutes after completion it's suddenly just a little gross. Moth F King leg foot cramps. The smell of sex. Anytime I as a female want to use lube for vag and males take that as automatic an L is happening. Did we discuss an L? No. Queefing after doing certain positions. It is literally just trapped air but sounds like a fart and can be extremely embarrassing because a fart is embarrassing but saying it was just a queef isn't any less embarrassing, lmao. When the SZOL partner doesn't want to cuddle afterwards. Open bracket. Also when semen shoots in your eye and you have pink eye for the rest of the day. I absolutely hate that I have to put lube in my hand. Then smear it over all the parts that need lubricated. Then I somehow have to deal with this wet, gooey hand while trying to stay stable enough to thrust. I usually try to keep a towel on the bed for this reason. But my boyfriend always throws it into the floor. Getting cum out of your asshole is probably the worst thing about being gay. It's such a supremely unpleasant experience. For a long time, I was adamant that my partner either wear a condom or cum literally anywhere else because I just didn't want to deal with it. Something that most men don't like to talk about but absolutely need to is not being able to get stay hard. It happens. Sometimes you just gotta adapt and overcome if penetration is not in the cards. There's no shame in it. There's a f***ing billion reasons your body won't f***ing cooperate. Poop dick. Wouldn't you like to know, virgin boy? The family diner afterwards. The feeling pf loneliness and emptiness that comes after. If I feel that way after sex, I tend not to repeat it with that person. Those vagina farts. Whatever they are called. Oh. Queefing, it's what it is. Playing the where did I throw my underwear game. Transfer of funds. PayPal. Venmo. Cash. Credit. Doggy style when she clearly pooped early in the day. Some of you have added this comment now. And really have me wondering just how many people wipe with TP and call it a day. When you're doing missionary and you have to basically hold a push-up over her, which I am just way too unhealthy to hold for more than a minute. Or you have to flop on top like a fat walrus. You're blubber wrapping her completely on either side like the world's ugliest hot dog while she's slowing, choking, and not even in a fun way. Or is that just me? When I'm doing an L with my partner, F, in doggy style, and I look down and see a big shitty spot on my tank top, and have to take it off and yeet it clear out of sight so she doesn't find out and get embarrassed. Lexi, if you ever see this. Yes. That's why I took off my shirt. I wasn't warm. I'm sorry I never told you. Thanks for letting me come in you though. The donut glaze in your beard. I promise. I did get tested. But I feel as though I look like I have an STD. Zits. Ingrown hairs. Nicks from shaving. Nails. Vagina. The beginning. Middle and end. Your kids banging on the door cause they're hungry at 11 o'clock at night. It's an immediate mood killer and an amazing contraceptive. Story time. Went on a Tinder date with this incredibly hot guy. I mean absolute 10/10. I had talked to him for months before I decided to see him. I kinda thought he must be a catfish. The date was perfect and he was amazing. Well, I go back to his place and things start happening. He turns off the lights and halfway through sex he gets up and his entire bed looks like a murder scene. It was not just a little spot. No. His perfect white sheets were absolutely soaked in blood. He was soaked in blood. There were bloody handprints, the whole 9 yards. For zero reason. It wasn't even my peroid. It just decided to bleed everywhere then stop. And never happened to me again. I felt so bad and he wouldn't let me help him clean up. I went home and cried that night thinking he'd probably never talk to me again. But he's now my boyfriend going on 3 years. So at least there's a happy ending. Not for the sheets though. They never recovered from that incident. Trying to get it in. You need to do a lot of foreplay before she's open up enough for you to put it in. Otherwise, you're forcing it and it's uncomfortable for both parties. Vaginas don't really open up, although they do get longer and more flexible. Accepting anything in the vagina comfortably is 90% about lubrication. Which is why foreplay is critical. Golden rule. The wetter the better. When you go down on a lass and find a fanny full of tissue crumbs. My GF and I both finished around the same time and somehow we both thought the other hadn't. I can tell you the grossest part of sex is when you accidentally get cum on the floor, via the cum walk, or if you are just a spray and pray type of person. And the dog comes over and licks it up before you get a chance to clean it. Didn't expect the second half of the story XD. When you and your partner are both sweating but you're both fat, so your stomachs get stuck together and make that little suction noise. Only me? Not everybody realizes how important foreplay actually is. When you're both joking around so much that your laughing nearly kills the mood. When you feel his balls slapping your vag with every thrust. I like that. Not enough lesbians hear arm hand cramps suck a lot. When you're trying so hard not to come that you pull out for a second and then she keeps begging and grabbing at you, which just makes it harder, pun intended. A yeast infection. It smelled horrid. No one talked about it until her doctor made her call and tell me. That conversation was even more awkward. Probably what turned me gay. Yeast infections don't smell. It must have been bacterial vaginosis. I think a lot of these are talked about pretty often, if not necessarily depicted in media PRN. For anyone with a vagina, sex can change the smell of your natural discharge. I'm an LTR and have a lark. Semen makes my discharge smell like bleach for 1-3 days after sex.